Yeah, bang bang Rahul. Please press the like button. I remember about what 18 months ago, 2 years ago. I was in Harrow, and my mate Danny come and see me, and he brought a guy's big Joe Egan up to my house, and Joe's massive, man. He walks up the stairs. He's massive. Joe was touching the side of the stairs. You know what I mean? He was huge, man. He come in. He was talking, and he was talking. I mean, Joe Joyce now, yeah, looks like he's going to be the next world champion. Joe Egan, right, was saying then 2 years ago that this Joe Joyce is going to go a long, long way. Yeah, 2 years ago he said that. You know what I mean? And look at it now. Look at Joe Joyce. Looks like he's going to be world champion. I know at the minute Tyson Fury is, and Tyson Fury says that Joe Joyce will be world champion. I mean, come on. I mean, it was funny when Joe came to my house, Big Joe again. I mean, he's such a nice guy. He's a gentle giant, mate. I mean, they say he is. I mean, he's the hardest white man going. I believe it, yeah, I believe it. But he's a gentle giant as well, yeah. He was so. I mean, when he went to the fish and chip shop, he come back with about 10 pieces of fish for himself, yeah, massive great portions of chips, and just sat there, ate them with no problem, And I was talking to him about the old times, all the gangsters I know and bits and pieces, and he was confused. You know what I mean? He's like, he couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? He was like, he's into his boxing, and gangsterism is different. Like he's just boxing. He's not a gangster, nothing like that. Even though he's been in lots of gangster films, he's not. You tell him, start telling him the truths about life, how it really is as a gangster, and the people you knock about with, like big companies and all them sorts of things. Yeah, and you can see his face changing. You know what I mean? He can't believe it. And Danny, my mate Danny, he's been in quite a few films. Danny, I think he's been about 56, 60 films. I remember being in one of the Craig films. He was the detective in it, Nick the Craze, one of them films. And yeah, he's my mate Danny's proper. He wants me to go and see him once my book's done, and he's going to give it to a few people. And I don't need to do that, but I will do that. Joe Egan, I promised him one of my books. I mean, when he got on my hand, Joe, his hand went twice around my hands. I swear, and I've got big hands, yeah. And he's powerful, like he grips you. You can feel that power, the power in him. So you can imagine when he's got that boxing glove on, he's got the bandage on, the power in that, and he could bang, Joe Egan. Got to say, he could bang. Mike Tyson said when he was sparring with Joe that he could bang, and he's a very good banger. He's the next white heavyweight, but something happens. It's like, listen, we all get involved with domestic problems, women bring us down and ruin our careers. I mean, to be a good fighter. I mean, Tyson Fury is fantastic. I'm married, got kids, and it's quite hard. It's not easy. With big respect for Tyson Fury, like that. Wife, kids, and he's still fighting boxing, mate, and no problem. But most of us fighters that get women. I mean, one of my best, Nigel Benn. I mean, me and Nigel were mates. I used to go out with him on the Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday nights, and be wrapped around them quite a lot, you know what I mean? And and I met Nigel in the Barbican, in the Barbican gymnasium, big, massive gym. I met him in there, Nigel Benn. He was with, who was he with now? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure he was with at that time. But I mean, I don't know if he's with one of the Essex boys, the ones that was to get in the ring with him. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite. Tate, was it Tate? I think it was Tate, And I don't remember. I remember him being with a white guy, quite big guy, yeah. And when we used to go down Power Joey's and Fidenz's, I remember him being with him, but I never took a lot of notice of it. It's more likely Tate, yeah. But and I know that Nigel got involved with some quite heavy people, and it might have been that lot. I don't know. And Nigel Benn, proper man, mate. I like Nigel. He's a proper hard man. You know what I mean? You don't muck about with him, mate. I mean, he can bang. I mean, I don't hold him with Ray Sullivan. What happened with Ray Sullivan and him? But we used to go. I mean, Ray Sullivan and Nigel Benn were best of pals, yeah. But Ray Sullivan does have that silly trick of doing something, putting things in drinks and all that, going what he shouldn't do, yeah, private parts and all that, So in the end, Ray Sullivan got his comeuppance, you know what I mean? But I like Ray. I've known Ray a long, long time. Ray Sullivan, nice geezer. Owned a big company called Ticketrone in I forget, it was Tottenham Court Road, around that area. Yeah, nice fellow, Ray Sullivan. If you listen to my podcast, Ray, nice man, mate. I respect you big time. I used to look after all that lot, you know what I mean, years ago, yeah. And do you know when you see him? When I see him on my not my podcast, but I see him on YouTube, you know what I mean? And I sometimes, some of these people that you've met years ago, don't want to get involved with the gangsters and all that shit again. So I've done a few comments to Nigel Benn, and one of my best mates was Nigel. He was a nice fella. You know, and Gary Stretch and all that firm was proper nice people, yeah. You know, and Jimmy, I mean, to go back on it all, you know what I mean? To all the people that I knew, it's crazy, man. It's my life has gone mad, you know what I mean? And Brian Cox, the actor, film director, producer, very good friend of mine, mate, Brian Cox. I'm surprised that he hasn't, well, I don't suppose he does, you know, but some of the people that might go onto my podcast might, you know, get hold of Brian Cox and say, look, there's a guy called Ray Hill, and would like to get in contact, because it was Brian Cox, yeah, that made me Bang Bang Ray Hill. You know what I mean? And Call for Cats and all that. He's old Brian Cox, mate. Me and Brian go back a long way. Used to go around my sister's house and mum's house for dinner and all that. I mean, he even still bow for me, Brian Cox. You know what I mean? So me and Brian Cox go back a long way. I love him to get in contact with me. I love him to get when I do my book. He'd love my book. I mean, he would go crazy. He's a producer, a director. He would love my book. He would make a film of my book, maybe big series. You know what I mean? Because he's going to be the best. Without a shadow of doubt, my book is going to be so good. You know I make mistakes and lots of things I talk about and things like that. But when you're writing a book, it's a different thing. You go back on it 3 or 4 times, you get it all correct, and it's going to be a first class, fantastic book. Yeah, I think tomorrow is I'm going to go and do another couple of 3 hours on my book. I mean, every time, every week, every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, one of them days, I get into my book, you know, with the ghostwriter, and we get right into this book, yeah, and it gives you a headache, you know what I mean? After looking back all them years, you know what I mean, and going back as a child and all that, and going through your life, it's not easy, you know. You think it is. That's why these ghostwriters, and you get good ghostwriters like the one I've got, you know, he goes back on it maybe 2 or 3 times, so you bring out more into the book. 1 minute you got 100,000 words, the next minute you got 200,000 words. So you've got to be quite careful, because it don't end, and it could be 2 books, maybe even 3 books, you know. So you got to, you know, which is going to be nice, but I prefer a series, you know. Get a big series out of it. It's going to be a real proper book. Yeah, everybody's going to love it, mate. I mean, you know, I know a lot of people don't get into the books no more. It's more into the Kindle, and I'm into that as well, Kindle. You know, and YouTubes and all that. You know what I mean? Amazons and all them sorts of things. Yeah. But back to what I was talking about in the beginning about Big Joe. I mean, Big Joe Egan. I'd like to see him again. I mean, Joe must be watching my podcast, and Joe must remember me and him around my place in Harrow, and all that, and him saying that Joe Joyce is going to be the next heavyweight champion. I mean, come on, to say that 2 years ago, do you know what I mean? He's been following him, and yeah, well, fair play to you, Joe, and he's correct, mate. He's going to be good. That's why I'm into this Joe Joyce big time myself. I listen to Joe Egan. Joe Egan knows his boxing. He's a nice guy. Big respect for him. And I'm going to say big, mate. He's massive, yeah. His chest's got to be 64, 65. His chest is huge, mate. Giant. And to get him to sit in your place, to get him to sit in your gaff like that, you know what I mean? And this guy was a proper fighter, you know. And he gave me so much respect. Honestly, it gave me so much respect. It was like, he can't believe the life I led and what I've done in my life, and it's fantastic, isn't it? You know what I mean? To get big respect like that from a proper fighter, like Joe Egan. I'd like to meet Mike Tyson with Joe, and maybe, that'd be fantastic. Imagine doing a podcast with that too. It costs you a fortune, but it'd be nice, you know what I mean? I'd love that, yeah. I mean, I'm going to start getting myself a bit out a bit now. I've done a little podcast with Fish the other day. We're going to get together again and do another one, maybe a week's time. Don't want to spoil it, don't want to ruin it, you know what I mean? We are. We get together, we're funny. We don't hold nothing back. We say how it is. It's a laugh, mate. It is. We're pals. Why shouldn't we? We don't really slag anybody off as such, really. Really. You know what I mean? Really. Yeah, but it is what it is. And thanks so much for all the comments and the likes you give us. And me and Fish love all that, yeah? He's just phoned me out, Fish. He's quite excited about it as it happens, because Fish went missing for about a year. And when he come back, it was a bit hard to come back into it. It is, after you've been back, but this has brought him back into it, yeah? And he put his phone number on the on YouTube, and there's quite a lot of people who phoned him up and wished him all the best and bits and pieces. Me and Fish are going to do a proper one, a live thing, and do it. We've done a live one anyway, a bit more so people can talk to us. That'd be better. I like that. You know what I mean? So anyway, please like and subscribe. But I'm gonna try my hardest to get on my mate Danny again, and find out if Danny could get hold of Joe again, and we could sit down and have me and Joe do a podcast. That'd be fantastic. There's no reason why not. You know what I mean? I like Joe a lot. Joe Egan, if you're watching, mate, good on you, boy. He remembers me big time. Anyway, take care. Have a nice day, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, bye bye.